All right, Superman and Lois continues on with The Thing in the Mines. And once again, should have seen it coming. Didn't really even consider it. Another bait and switch. Perhaps more than one. Everything looked like Doomsday. We finally get a full view of him, and it does look like the suit that Doomsday was originally in. Well, not exactly like it, but, you know, a reasonable facsimile thereof from the comics when he first appeared and all that. But, surprise! It's not Doomsday. No. So I'll get right to it. It's Bizarro. So, apparently, they never had a Bizarro adventure in this version of Superman until now, which explains somewhat the sort of psychic connection between Superman and the Thing in the Mines. And so the Thing in the Mines is basically a clone of himself that just, you know, kind of stayed in the oven too long or something like that, and that's how you get Bizarro. So I'm wondering, at some point, will Lex Luthor make his appearance here? And that's right, I forgot about that. I cloned you and I buried it. I didn't know what to do with it. And so now, you know, it breaks free and stuff. He's got his own super suit with the S all backwards and everything. And his eyes glow, a blue tint. So he has freeze vision. So they'll do all that stuff. So that's, you know, and once again, they do this. It's just like they did with John Henry Irons. Everyone thought he was Black Lex Luthor from an alternate universe and all that. Well, he was from an alternate universe, but he wasn't Luthor. He was John Henry Irons, and he was Steel. So in a roundabout way, they get to these characters, and that's not really the story. And I keep wondering if they're going to meet the actual John Henry, because, I mean, supposedly he's dead, I know, but, you know, is he? And, I mean, you know, here you have Bizarro Superman, so you got a double. And then he kind of another John Henry Irons who might not be all that great of a guy or what have you, that sort of thing, maybe. But it's a fun kind of. I wonder if this will be a constant thing they do. After a while, it's going to get old, where you think it's this, but it's not. It's that, you know. Didn't care too much for Morgan Edge to just be a cheap ripoff of General Zod and to be Superman's brother. I didn't like that. That's about the only thing I didn't like about the last season, you know. But so far with this and Bizarro Superman, that's pretty interesting, and it presents quite an interesting challenge for Tyler Hoechlin. He's going to have to do the dual role and all that, but probably work out all right. So then. There's a little something else. So last episode, Sarah had a secret. Well, she kissed a girl. Now, she didn't finish the full lyric from the Katy Perry song, I Kissed a Girl and I Liked It. Yeah, she didn't really even say that. She said, I was just messing around. It doesn't mean anything. And she's all into to Jordan and all that. Gee, you think that's all it'll be? And I'm sure, the very small percentage of the brand new audience out there that Twitterverse has pursued and promised does exist will be all upset and feel like they got, a certain kind of baited. Well, not so fast. Of course, I insinuated that perhaps, she'll turn to Natalie and that'll create tension and a breakup within the family. But there's no indication, but that doesn't matter, of course. There's no indication of Natalie. Of course, there's no indication of her sexuality at all. There's no boyfriend or anything. We don't know much about. She's too busy being upset because, her whole world, she lost it. And now she's upset because Dad said he was not going to be, Super Iron Man anymore, but he's going to be Super Iron Man. So instead of that becoming a big thing where she cusses out her dad, she's upset about it, but not to the point that, she throws it in his face and whatnot, because he's in the position he's in, and he's like, look, it's the right thing to do. Superman needs help, and these people are taking care of us, and we're becoming more of a family with them in this weird, messed up way that they find themselves in. And so she steps up to the plate and says, well, then I'm going to help you do this. And he says, I really don't. Yeah, but you got to let her in, Daddy. And so she's going to, work on his suit and all that, and probably get her own at some point and that sort of thing. Meanwhile, there's a new drug in town. Actually, it's an old drug in town. It's Krypton X or X Kryptonite or whatever it was. And it's still around, So instead of meth, they're doing Crystal K. And that's the source of this football player who was crap, and now he's doing really well. It must be a very watered-down derivative form that it can continue to give humans some amount of power. Because previously it was they became possessed by the dead digitized spirits of Kryptonians. Well, that's all gone. So I guess the X-Kryptonite still has some sort of effect on human DNA where it enhances them, because Jonathan and this kid get in a fight over this, but it seems like the kid would have just flattened him into the ground, but that's not what happened. So it's a bit of a boost. It's similar to steroids, but probably better. And it turns out the dealer is Jonathan's girlfriend. So it's like, oh boy, that's terrible. Now they got to break up, But no, Jonathan says, I want to buy some too. Now, in a narrative way, this makes sense because he's kind of left out, but he seemingly was dealing with it very well. That his brother has all the powers and he doesn't have any. He takes after Mom. But here's an opportunity for him to gain something. But of course, he does have Kryptonian DNA in him. So I'm wondering if this would activate his powers and this sort of thing. We'll have to see. So, interesting little tidbits here and there. But and also developing a Lucy Lane story where Lois and Sam, once again, you weren't there for me, Dad. It's like, how many times we got to go through this? And yeah, they got to rein that in a bit. But apparently Lucy's involved with some weird cult. So, we'll have to see where that goes. But all in all, okay. Jordan and Sarah get back together. He gives her a little, a necklace that his grandma had and that sort of thing. And it's all sweet and everything. But Superman warns him not to reveal to her anything about, his powers and his who he really is and all that sort of stuff. And he doesn't want to. He wants to tell her. I mean, she revealed this thing to him. His secret is a bit more serious, but Clark's point is like, look, you're going to have to give the relationship time before you truly know it. And I know you think you're in love and all that stuff, and whether this has anything to last, and that she's trustworthy enough to keep that secret, because it could put the whole family at risk. Not to mention you could put her at risk and all this sort of stuff. So, he's going to have to rein that in, and you can already see what's going to happen. She's going to find out. And it's the old soap opera trope. And you lied to me. He's like, what? But I'm sorry. What? And then she's going to run into the arms of a woman. Yeah, I don't know. No, I do know. That's probably what'll happen. It's just, I don't know that they would go the route of having Natalie be the girlfriend. And that splits the family dynamic they've developed here. And that sort of thing. Or they're just going to introduce some girl, and that's it. And then of course Jordan decides, you know what? Maybe I should play for the other team too. Yeah, some kid with pink hair. I don't know. But so far, sure, it's just nothing, But it is the current era, and it's just been so strange that the Superman and Lois show just didn't preach anything like that. But how long could it last? And so is this the telltale signs of something like that? If it's just Sarah breaks up with Jordan and gets a girlfriend and that's it, well, so what, But if it leads to more stuff like that, and only for the purposes of that, for the typical superficial showcasing and virtue signaling of that stuff, then yeah, that'll just doom the show. Well, we'll have to see. But so far, so good, really. You know, there's not a whole lot there. But you just know how these things work, you know? And what concerns them more than actual story and plot and character development. Because here, it's, yeah, it is shoehorned in, you know? So they didn't introduce her as, like, being involved with a girlfriend. She had a boyfriend at the outset. You know, that would have been, it's already established that she's into girls, but then she starts having an interest in Jordan, and he's like, oh, but I thought, says, well, you know, I can go both ways, and that sort of thing, and ends up with him. But you know the rules. You probably wouldn't allow that either, you know? So that's why you end up with kind of a shoehorn, and it's not in total lacking of credibility, you know. Girls will tell you, I was very experimental, which you shouldn't experiment with people like that to that point, but it happens. And so I guess that's what they're doing for Sarah. But the idea that that's all there is to it, and it moves on, and she's with him, and even if they do break up, you know, pursue it further, you know, who knows? It's just the idea that if they tried to push her and Natalie together just for the purpose of soap opera hijinks, you know, I don't know. But even if that occurs, it's not nearly as bad as suddenly shoehorning homosexuality into Jordan. You know, because there's nothing there. There just doesn't seem to be any indication of it for him. I mean, he's so enthralled with this girl, you know, and he was, you know, sure, he was a shy guy and all this sort of, but that's not an indication of any of that. And so it would just be this obvious superficial shoehorn element. With Sarah, you don't know a whole lot about her, and when she tells her mom about it, she's like, oh, okay, you know, I don't know. It's just, it's still a bit of a shoehorn there. This is why I thought maybe they should have had some indication of it earlier, because then it's like you do have to just say, well, it was this one thing she did, and it's not that big of a deal to her, and there's not going to be a relationship or anything coming out of that, and that's all it was. But you know the rules. And if they still fear Twitterverse, which they shouldn't, then they will accuse them of queer baiting and that sort of thing, which they wouldn't be entirely wrong. I mean, it's just like with the supervillains. It's queer baiting and Switch. Maybe, I don't know. Anywho, it is the era we live in, but hopefully they'll just continue to pursue their the super family show that they've been doing, and that would be for the best, I think. Yeah. And nobody magically becomes gay overnight and that sort of thing. Anyway, there we go. The Thing in the Mines was bizarre. Tee-hee, get it? Yeah. Thanks for watching and listening. Say, while you're still here, why not like and subscribe and share with your many friends? Yes. Also, check out my mini stores in the link description below. Yes, where you can get t-shirts, hats, mugs, all those goodies with my artwork on them. Oh, yeah. And head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book, Night Night. Oh, yeah. You can also catch me at my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, on RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on BitChute.com and now on Rumble.com. Oh, my goodness, so many places to watch me and my stuff. Oh, yeah. And if that's not enough for you, well, you can follow me on many social media platforms and say hi to your old pal, Mr. Nailsin.